Yeah, click that. And we're on. Hi, everybody. It is Wednesday night, and we're studying the book of Acts tonight. Veronica is just getting us all on all of the screens, and as you can tell, we're not downstairs in the sanctuary. That's us. We're like, hey,
We are.
there we are. So we're not downstairs in the sanctuary. We were having a few technical difficulties, so we just came upstairs. You don't know. We came into the studio where where we have all of this behind us, and so we're just going to do it here. So to all the people who are coming live tonight and sitting socially distanced in the sanctuary, hello everybody. We're sorry we're not down there with you. Um, Technology doesn't always work. So we knew this would work. So here we are. It makes sense. It makes sense. So it would be great if you just said hello in the comments so that Veronica and I don't feel like we're talking to ourselves. We kind of are and talking to each other, but it would be great if you said hi. And then also if you could tell us how our mic sounds. Does our mic sound okay? Can you hear us okay? These are good things for you to tell us because we'll just keep rolling along and we don't even know that you can't hear it. So say hello and tell us if our mic's okay and whatever else you'd like. That'd be great. But yeah, say hello in the comments. That'd be fabulous. That would be fabulous. So we are in Acts
25.
Acts 25. There you go. Oh, I guess it was on the screen. I could have read that. We're in Acts 25. How's that? And then we can also, if you guys, there
Hi,
is.
John.
There's Mr. John Bagwell. John Calvin. Howdy, sir. How does our mic sound? Can you hear us okay?
Sounds good, Tracy says.
Oh, thanks, Tracy. Alrighty. So Tracy might be downstairs, and so sorry, y'all. We're gonna hang up. We're gonna hang out in the studio today, but we're still here.
Mm-hmm.
We're separately together. It's like a COVID thing. We know how to social distance. We're just in a whole different. We're in a whole different room. So, hello, Miss Pam. Good.
Pam.
Okay, so we are rolling. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Awesome, awesome. So we are. Oh, John says you sound okay. You can hear us. That is great. We've got great news for you tonight. Acts 25 is short.
It's pretty short, but it's one that I think we can all learn from too, because we're all going to be placed in a situation where we get to talk about Jesus, especially with the holidays coming up. So learn from Paul and how to conduct yourself, and in times of anger and times when
Yeah, I mean, he's in jail.
Yeah.
Or he's being kept.
Right.
He's a prisoner. I don't know if he's being kept in jail, but he's a prisoner. They won't let him loose. And it is great to see what he does with all of this. I think I would be upset,
right.
suffice it to say. And it seems like Paul approaches it very well. He sees like every single one of these things as an opportunity just to talk about Jesus, just to spread the gospel. So you're absolutely right, Veronica. That's awesome. So it's pretty fast. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jennifer.
She is being complimentary. God bless you. We're here. We're here. So there we go. And so anyway, Acts 25 is pretty quick. And so hold on to your seat. We're going to fly right through this. It's just... it's like reporting the news, right? We're just gonna just say exactly what happened. There's no I don't know. There's nuggets in here, but mostly they're just reporting what happened. So it's all good. Hi, Miss Diane. Good to be seen tonight. I was gonna say good to see you, but good to see you saying hello. Thank you so very much. All right, lady.
All right.
You ready?
Yes.
Veronica's reading tonight. Thanks, Veronica.
Tonight on Acts of the Apostles, chapter 25.
Woohoo! There you go.
All right, chapter 25. Everyone, get your Bibles out. Read along with us. That way, you can see that we are speaking the truth here.
Right?
So-
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's
our
see.
big Bibles.
Yes. Chapter 25. Now, when Festus had come to the province, after 3 days he went up from Caesarea to Jerusalem. Then the high priest and the chief of men of Jews informed him against Paul. And they petitioned him, asking a favor against him, that he would summon him to Jerusalem. While they lay while they lay in ambush, lost my place, along the road to kill him. But Festus answered that Paul should be kept in Caesarea, and that he himself was going there shortly. Therefore, he said, let those who have authority among you go down with me and accuse this man to see if there is any fault in him.
There you go. So if we look back at the last chapter of the last verse of chapter 24, it says, because I don't know if you remember last time, but Paul was talking before Felix at that point. And so that last verse of 24, do you want to read it, verse 27?
Yes, but after 2 years, Porcius Festus succeeded Felix, and Felix, wanting to do the Jews a favor, left Paul bound.
There you go. So Felix is leaving the scene, got promoted or something, or transferred as people do, and so Festus, Porcius Festus is his new replacement, and I love how it says in verse 27 that Felix was trying to do the Jewish people a favor, and so he's like, just leave Paul here, because they knew that there was conflict, and he knew that they really want to kill Paul. They still want to kill Paul, and you read that down here too in chapter 25. What verse is that? It says
Chapter 3. I'm sorry, verse 3.
Verse 3. It says, they urgently requested Festus as a favor to them, how cool they are, huh? To have Paul transferred to Jerusalem because they were going to lie in wait and kill him. So even though it's been 2 years, they're still really upset.
Right. I wonder if they were still
Can't let it go.
Were they still not eating or drinking at this point?
Right. We saw that in last chapter or the chapter before.
I think it's 23.
Yeah, that 40 men had vowed to not eat or drink until they killed Paul. Like, hey, 2 years has gone by. There's some skinny people after this point, but yeah, I imagine they gave up. But it sounds like they're still really mad, so they're still really upset, and they're in. It says, Festus went to Jerusalem. So remember, Jerusalem is where these high priests are that are so angry with Paul. But as Festus says, he says, no, leave him in Caesarea. We can figure all of this out. Just leave him there. I'm going to Caesarea, so why don't you just send somebody to charge him? Remember, we had that last time. It was Ananias, and so Tertullus was the lawyer that presented the case of the high priest Ananias against Paul. But now 2 years have gone past, and so Festus is saying, just send your people back down to Caesarea and let's see what your charges are. And it says, let some of your leaders come with me, actually, he says, and press charges against the man there if he has done anything wrong. So Festus isn't even assuming that things were falling apart. So there you go. All right, so where are we going now?
Let's see, verse 6. And when he had remained among them more than 10 days, he went down to Caesarea. And the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, he commanded Paul to be brought. When he had come, the Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood about and laid many serious complaints against Paul, which they could not prove. Well, he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, nor against the temple, nor against Caesar have I offended in anything at all.
There you go. So he's and so it says exactly what Festus was saying. He hung out there and then he went to Caesarea, and then Festus is the one that has the power to judge. And it said that he convened the court, right, and Paul and brought Paul before him, and maybe the high priest, maybe they got another lawyer, I don't know, they came down from Jerusalem, and it says that they brought serious charges against him. I love that end part of verse number 7. It says, which they could not prove.
Right.
They didn't have any proof, like these serious charges that they could not prove, and it's if Festus was any kind of judge, and I hope that he was, going to be fair on some level, he had to see that that was the case, that there really was nothing, that there was no proof. And so it says, this is then what Paul says, that first thing, right? I've done nothing against the law and anything against the temple. So there we go. Paul is ready to speak. He's not going to get to say a lot this time, but he's ready to speak. And it looks like Festus really thinks like Felix did. I think that the Jews, there's enough Jews in their region that they're overseeing that they don't want to make them mad. They want to, kind of show like they're in partnership with them. And so he's trying to always, maybe again trying to do these favors for them just to keep them quiet. So actually that's how verse number 9 starts. You can go ahead, lady.
So let's see, 10, verse 10. So Paul said, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. To the Jews I have done no wrong, as you may very well know. For if I am an offender, or have committed anything deserving of death, I do not object to dying. But if there is nothing in these things of which these men accuse me, no one can deliver me to them. I appeal to Caesar.
There we go. So that was the Roman right to be able to appeal to Caesar. But I like how in verse number 9, Festus says, again, he's doing the Jews a favor, right? He's doing them a favor, and he's saying, are you willing to go up to Jerusalem? But we saw before, it's like they want him transferred to Jerusalem because in verse 3, they're gonna kill him. They're gonna lie in wait and just ambush him. And so if they could get Paul to go to Jerusalem, there would be no trial, which is exactly what they wanted. And clearly they were asking Festus this over and over, and Festus wanted to do them a favor. But now Paul gets to talk, and he says, I think that is that in the end of 10, he said that he hasn't done anything wrong, and he said, you yourself know this very well. Wow. Okay, so he's calling Festus out. He's saying, you actually know this, that I haven't done anything wrong. And so, but then he says that he would, I think is that verse 11, and he says,
If he was committed, or if he has committed anything deserving of death, that he would have no form of dying.
there you go. He's a man of honor. He's a man of honor. But he said, if the charges brought by the Jews are not true, then no one has the right to hand me over to them. So again, I think he's just making his case, like he's not guilty. He's declaring he's not guilty. Yeah, and Jennifer says that Paul knew his rights as a Roman citizen, which I think surprised some. Yeah, remember that they were surprised that he was a Roman citizen. They didn't even assume that. So then when he claimed that, they had to do everything a little bit differently. And this is another right as a Roman citizen. You get to appeal to Caesar. And so while I don't think it guarantees that you would go before Caesar, which is kind of be like the Supreme Court, it doesn't guarantee you get before the Supreme Court, but it's like appealing. And so you do get to go to a higher court. And 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 obviously, that was his right and he claimed it. Did you read verse 12?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. But with this
Go
verse
ahead.
here, I know that he was told that he was going to go before kings, right?
Yeah. So this is like fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you're totally right, Veronica. That's awesome. Because he did. He was before kings and rulers and all that stuff. And so, um, and now he's gonna go to Caesar. Again, it doesn't guarantee that he goes to Caesar, but he will go. He will go to some very important people, and eventually that. But I don't want to get ahead of us. Do you want to read just verse 12?
Yes. Then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, answered, "You have appealed to Caesar. To Caesar you shall go."
There we go. So he's like, there you are. You can get out of here. I'm sure, too, like it's a strange enough situation, and he knows that this whole group of these high-ranking Jewish people are so upset, literally want to kill Paul. And so for him to be able to kind of hand him off, which we saw in Acts chapter 24, Felix handed him off to Festus. And so now Festus is more than happy to hand him off. He's like, that's great. No, you can go on to Rome, and like Jen said here in her comment, God said he would go to Rome. That's right. That was a couple chapters ago even, I think. And God told him, you will go to Rome, and you will go before kings and rulers. And so this is just one step closer to headed to Rome. So there we go. So now we've got more important people, I guess.
So my commentary here, it says, after hearing both sides, Festus realized Paul had not broken Roman law and should have acquitted him of all charges. But like Felix before him, Festus realized this action would infuriate the Jews, just like
Yeah.
you mentioned, causing unrest throughout Judea.
That's it. And although they were in control, they probably weren't in that much control that they could have a whole huge part of their, the area that they governed to, go crazy, have riots and all that good stuff.
And I don't think Paul would have had a fair trial there, right?
Yeah. Well, they wanted to kill him on the road to Jerusalem. They never
So there
wanted
was no
him.
fair trial.
Yeah, they didn't
anyway,
want him to
so-
even have a trial. They're like, we already know how we want the trial to end up. Wow. Okay. But they were upset, and it sounds like nobody could even calm them down. Not even time, not even 2 years could calm them down. So, but as we know, Paul didn't stop in those 2 years. He didn't stop telling people about Jesus. Yeah.
Yes.
He was using even this time as an opportunity to spread the word. There you go.
Let's see, it's verse 13. And after some days, King Agrippa and Bernice came to Caesarea to greet Festus. When they had been there for many days, Festus laid Paul's case before the king, saying, "There is a certain man left a prisoner by Felix, about whom the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me, when I was in Jerusalem, asking for a judgment against him. To them I answered, it is not the custom of the Romans to deliver any man to destruction before the accused meets the accusers face to face, and has opportunity to answer for himself concerning the charges against him."
There you go. So again, this is a king, and so another king that we'll find out down below that Paul actually does get to talk to him, but but it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like Festus is asking for his opinion on the case, right? He's like, hey, Felix left me, this bomb here, and I don't know what to do with it. But immediately he says, that the chief priests and the elders of the Jews have charges against him and want him to be condemned. Now, King Agrippa is of Jewish descent, and so he would understand maybe what some of those charges were all about. I don't know that Festus really understood maybe all of the charges, because it wasn't a charge against it wasn't stealing or killing or anything like that. His charge was he was saying things against the Jewish traditions, against the Jewish religion, and that's why they were so mad. But if you don't know about the Jewish religion, or you don't know about those traditions,
It can be confusing.
yeah, Festus is like, what's the problem? Like, did he hurt someone? Did he steal something? Was he bad? Was he like, no, this is about the religious stuff. And so Festus really does need some help. So I guess it's good he got some counsel from King Agrippa. So let's see. Where did you leave off at?
17.
Oh,
Or-
17.
Yeah, I haven't read 17 yet.
Okay. You can go ahead, I think.
Sure.
We can
Okay.
roll down a little bit.
Right, therefore, when they had come together without any delay, the next day I sat on the judgment seat and commanded the man to be brought in. When the accusers stood up, they brought no accusation against him of such things as I supposed, but
Yeah.
had some questions against him about their own religion and about a certain Jesus, who had died and whom Paul confirmed to be alive.
That's so funny. He's like, this isn't, it says in 18, there were no crimes charged that he expected. He said, I don't even know what to do with all of this. Instead, they had points of dispute with him about their own religion and about a dead man named Jesus who Paul claimed was alive. So clearly he was, but it says all the way back in verse 7 that when they brought the charges against him, they couldn't prove them. So there would be a problem here, because where's Jesus? How is Paul even, so how would they prove that Paul even ever said that? Jesus isn't going to show up. Stop the cliffhanger. Jesus actually isn't going to show up. So
Right.
he's elsewhere, of course. And so so a lot of these charges just don't make any sense. Jen says that Festus didn't know what to charge Paul with. That's exactly it. He said, there's no crimes that I had expected. So
Yeah, it's like, again, he was confused, right? If you don't know about Christianity,
mhm.
you can be easily confused and set astray.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah, you
And-
get led away.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me here, it just spoke about like maybe two churches fighting against each other about who was right, who was wrong, and we still see that nowadays, right? Instead of focusing on those that we should save,
hmm
we tend to kind of sometimes focus on who's right, who's wrong.
Oh, we all love to be right. Yeah, and it takes a lot of Jesus to strip those things from us, because we're human, and we certainly love to be right. But as we studied last night in Mark chapter 9, that very end of that chapter, it says that we all need to be in unity. But the high priest and the leaders of the Jews in Jerusalem were not interested in any unity with Paul.
Right. Yeah. They
No
wanted to kill
unity at
him.
all. They literally wanted to kill him. That's it. I think that's it. Where did you leave off at? 9.
Um,
Oh,
20.
20.
And because I was uncertain of such questions, I asked whether he was willing to go to Jerusalem and there be judged concerning these matters. But when Paul appealed to be reserved for the decision of Augustus, I commanded him to be kept till I could send him to Caesar. Then Agrippa said to Festus, I also would like to hear the man myself. Tomorrow, he said, you shall hear him.
There we go. So King Agrippa is going to get to hear from Paul and get to hear exactly what, well, we know what Paul's going to say. Paul's going to present the gospel, talk about this man, Jesus, who was dead and is now alive. But I do love it because he said in verse 20, I was at a loss. I was at a loss. I can't even investigate such matters. How do you investigate a guy who was dead and is supposedly now alive that is, he's not here in Caesarea? So what are we going to do? How are we going to prove this? I don't even know how to investigate this. How do you call a witness? So it was good, I guess, that he did come before King Agrippa and ask for some help. And then of course King Agrippa, sounds like King Agrippa, maybe his interest is piqued, and he'd like to hear what Paul has to say. Very cool.
23. So the next day, when Agrippa and Bernice had come with great pomp, and had entered the auditorium with the commanders and the prominent men of the city, at Festus' command, Paul was brought in. And Festus said, King Agrippa and all the men who are here present with us, you see this man about whom the whole assembly of the Jews petitioned me, both at Jerusalem and here, crying out that he was not fit to live any longer. But when I found that he had committed nothing deserving of death, and that he himself had appealed to Augustus, I decided to send him. I have nothing certain to write to my lord concerning him. Therefore, I have brought him out before you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that after the examination has taken place, I may have something to write. For it seems to me unreasonable to send a prisoner and not to specify the charges against him.
There you go. So I don't know if you guys remember before. I think it was all the way back in 22 and 23. The commander of the army there kind of saved Paul's life by pulling him out of a big crowd, and he wrote a letter. To Felix, and so I guess this was the custom. Like, you send the prisoner and you send a letter with the information that you have, and you say, okay, so here's the charges against him. He stole from this person, he burnt this person's house down, whatever it is, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the charges. Maybe here's, I saw some witness testimony, and here's what I know. So it's funny, that's exactly what Festus is trying to figure out. And now he's coming before King Agrippa, and it says, and the audience room with high-ranking officers and leading men of the city. He's trying to figure out, what should I write in the letter to send Paul to Rome? Because I don't know what the charges are. and obviously he has to prove that they could hold him all this time. They've held him for over 2 years. So they need to say something to make it, so that they didn't, go against his rights, right, as a Roman citizen.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
So I think at that time, Caesar was Nero, right?
Mhm.
Nero, and if anybody knows about Nero, he was
Awful.
Yes, he was
It
the
was
one
awful,
who did
yes.
great things like burn Christians, and I wouldn't call them great, but
Yeah.
fed them to the lions and
Absolutely. Yeah. He was pretty awful.
right. And this is
Awful.
the same man that Felix went to, and I don't think we hear from Felix here anymore, so I can just imagine.
Yeah. we don't know, but obviously it's Paul's going to go to he's going to go to the emperor again. It's not guaranteed that he would see the emperor, but he will. And so it says that it says obviously that poor Festus just didn't know what to write. He didn't know what to write, just like you said, Jen. Festus didn't know what to charge Paul with, and it sounds like he needs to send him with a letter. What should I put in the letter? He offended some high priests. I think that's basically his charge, that he has offended them. Now he really, really offended them, but
Right.
he offended them so much that they want him dead. But that's not a real charge, right? He said he had done. I found, verse 25. Festus says, I found that he has done nothing deserving of death. So Festus is in a place where he can judge and he can rule, but Paul called the I appealed to Caesar card, and so off he goes. So we're at the end of this chapter, so we actually will not get to hear what Paul says to King Agrippa and Bernice and Festus and all of the other people in this room. That's the next chapter. But feel free to read ahead because obviously anytime Paul opens his mouth, anytime he gives a sermon, right, it's noteworthy, and it's definitely something that we ourselves can use and utilize. So absolutely. So I don't know if you guys have any questions, or do you have any wrap up comments?
I think no, like I said earlier. Well, yes, like I said earlier. We didn't start
Yes.
with no. Yes. Again, even in times of like trial, like let's just speak about Jesus, and all the great things that He's done for us, and the things that He's going to do for us, and not lead anyone astray. Just not lead them astray with our words, the things that we say, the things that we do. Live like Christ, right?
Live
that
like
way,
Christ, yeah.
because non-believers are attracted to that. Like, what makes you so different?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you so different?
Why are you so calm
Mhm.
in the midst of all of this crazy chaos?
Right.
What is
Yes.
it that you have? It's like, oh, let me tell you, and obviously that's how Paul is living, and Paul, I think he really is. He's seeing all of his problems as opportunities,
Yes.
as opportunities to
Sometimes
spread
it's
the gospel.
It's difficult sometimes, but He gives us strength, right? To
He gives us
overcome.
strength. Absolutely. So that is Acts 25. Good job, you guys. Here we are. Anthony says, Holy Spirit. That's it. That's the power. That's the power that Paul used to get through it, obviously. And as it is said in other places in the scripture, when you pray and you ask for the words, I know that the Holy Spirit always gave Paul just the best words. So tomorrow night at 7:00, you can come right back here, and Pastor Gay and Pastor Dan are teaching on Genesis. And if you have any questions about Genesis, they are answering the questions. I go to another meeting on Thursday nights, and so I don't catch it live, but I catch it. Remember, you can always go back and watch all of these things later. If you just go into Bible Discovery, there's areas there where all of the books of the Bible that we've studied, there's all the videos, and so you can click on them and watch them again. Do you want to know what Pastor Dan and Pastor Gay say about dinosaurs, or about how old the Earth is? You can go back and rewatch some of their videos, because they're
great.
they're blowing my mind.
Yes.
They're like, I love science, and they are proving it God's way, and it's just amazing. So that is Thursday nights at 7 right here, and then Sunday at 5 we have church here in Huntington Beach, but we're going to be broadcasting it online, of course. And some people will come in person now because it's allowed for now
Yeah, so
with
come on
masks. Yeah, so you can come on down to Huntington Beach. It's 8101 Slater Avenue in Slater and Beach Boulevard in Huntington Beach. And then Tuesday, 4:30 is Hebrews.
Yes.
Yep. And 7:30 is the book of Mark.
Yes.
Yes.
With Jennifer.
Yes, with Jennifer. So there you go. And then Wednesday, you're back with us, and you will be in Acts 26 next week. So what an amazing, amazing evening. I'm so glad that you cracked the Bible open with us tonight, and dust that thing off, and let's learn a little bit about what's inside, because it is the power to save.
Yes.
So thank you so very much. I think I got to figure out how to click all these things over here, but I think we are all good. So thanks, everybody. We will see you soon.
Yes.
Tomorrow night at 7.
Take care.
Bye-bye. God bless.